Hello and welcome to a new webinar. First of all, just a safety check, because last time we had this webinar, we heard from the audience that they weren't able to hear any sounds and voices. So I hope now this works. If not, please feel free to write us in the chat. And yeah, we will see what we can do. But hopefully, all fingers pressed, everything's working. And yeah, people are writing us actually that they can hear us. Great. Yeah, sorry again last time for the interruption due to the missing sound. We fixed it with the platform provider and everything is working. So let me again welcome you to this webinar about saving trees with IoT. Today we have two great guests, Inou from Teneo and Karsten from KPN. We have been working on a couple of solutions for over a couple of years already, and one of these solutions that we scale together with KPN and Teneo is soil moisture monitoring. Inou is going to share some information about a very interesting success story. Karsten is giving us some insights in the KPN network. The agenda, more or less, I was already talking about the agenda. So yeah, first of all, I give a short introduction on Datacake and soil moisture sensing, and then our partners take over, talk about their parts. And at the end, we show a live demonstration how you can onboard a soil moisture sensor on the KPN LoRaWAN network and then take it to Datacake. And then at the very end, so it makes sense to stay up until the end, we are showcasing something brand new from Datacake, which is in correlation to all of these topics here, but something that you've never seen before, maybe on screenshots on LinkedIn, but brand new. And then at the very, very end, Inou is announcing a giveaway that we've especially designed for this webinar. So why soil moisture monitoring on Datacake? First of all, let me explain a little bit about what we do at Datacake. Maybe some of you know already, some don't. We are a platform provider, and this platform provider is about offering solutions for IoT devices, usually dashboards, but also alerting, like if something goes out of control, send an SMS, alert, email, or forward data to notification center. We also offer kind of predefined views for the showcasing different kinds of sensor values, and we have a strong backend for managing large amounts of sensors, and we connect to LoRaWAN network servers such as the KPN network. And one of the great things about KPN is that they have a nationwide coverage in the Netherlands, so it makes sense to start with Datacake and KPN. Datacake, just from a company side, 7 years history. This year we turn 8 years actually. We have installations all around the world, and one of the biggest verticals that we have on the platform actually is soil moisture sensing around the world for smart farming, protecting trees, like in this use case. And I don't want to go too much into theory because we have a live demonstration for this. And yeah, that's from my side for now. And now I would like to take over and give over to Inou from Teneo. She will be showcasing the success story that we've done with Datacake and KPN. Welcome to the webinar, Inou. Feel free.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome. Happy to be here. First I'll introduce myself and our company a bit. My name is Inou Heideman. I'm one of the owners of Teneo IoT. Our company was founded in 2016. And actually what we do is we are focused on developing sensors based on LoRaWAN, and especially for the smart city environment. So besides the soil moisture sensors, which we are talking about in this webinar, we also have filling level sensors for garbage bins or air quality sensors for particulate monitoring, CO2 monitoring, water heights, etc., etc. The product portfolio of us is growing every year. Follow us and stay tuned for more developments on that side. Regarding to the soil moisture sensor, when it existed in 2018, actually when the first dry summer was in the Netherlands. We were asked by a municipality in the center of the Netherlands with the question, basically, we want to monitor our trees, which we have planted in the last 1 to 3 years ago. because in the first 3 years it is essential that you support trees in giving them water in the right way, because everyone can imagine that when the soil is too dry, that's becoming a problem, but also when the soil is becoming too wet, you can basically drown the tree. So that makes sense why in the first 3 years it's very important that you give water to the tree at the right amount of time with the right amount of quality of right amount of liters of water. That's why we developed this sensor. Yeah, my blurring background is not helping me anymore, but actually the measurement is done by this measurement probe. The measurement is done by these two metal circles, and actually the cable is connected to the sensor itself, and actually all the electronics is in here. This is completely waterproof. So what we actually do, and that was also one of the things in which the municipality came with us, was the question, okay, we want to have it as robust as possible. And yeah, actually, if you want to have an anti-fest solution, yeah, what is the better anti-fest solution than to bury the sensor completely under the ground? That gave us some technical challenges, also regarding to antenna performance, but we solved that. And currently, since 2018, we have many years of experience in actually soil moisture monitoring in the Netherlands and also in Germany and, for example, in Sweden. Then to dive deeper into the success story, we are often also asked, what is, I already mentioned some advantages and why the necessity is to monitor actually the soil moist in a good way. But I think a really nice a few new use cases of us, which we have done in the last years, are really interesting for that. For example, one of the use cases was last year. We had a project in which we had around 1,100 trees, which were being planted by the municipality itself. And they bought around 200 sensors to actually monitor those trees. So that's also one important point. They didn't have a sensor at every tree because that's not really necessary. You can look at certain specifications, like what is the thickness of the tree, is it the tree standing in the sun, is the tree standing in the shadow? All those kind of factors are really important in when you want to give water to the tree. And then basically what we did was we clustered the soil moisture sensors with the trees who didn't have a sensor. And when the sensor said, okay, the soil is too dry or the soil was too wet, then the action was actually triggered into the platform. For example, when someone had to give water, an alert was being sent or an overview was being sent of the trees which actually have to be provided with water. And to talk into really figures and numbers, what has saved us that we heard from a lot of greenkeepers and gardeners who actually plant trees for municipalities that normally when they don't work with sensors, they always count with the tree mortality rate in the first 3 years of between 5 to 10%. So in the project of 1,100 trees, that meant that around 120 to 70 trees would have died in that project. Well, what was the result we got last year? None of the trees died. And we had a similar project a few years ago. It was almost the same amount of trees, and in that project we got from 1,200 trees in total, and in the first year only 4 trees died. So that meant that we reduced the mortality rate from about 5 to 10% to even below 0%, even below 1%. But it not only counts for saving the trees itself. Of course, you can imagine that planting a tree costs money, but in times of water scarcity, that also counts. Especially in the Netherlands, we see that a lot of scarcity is existing around drinking water, basically. And therefore, we actually have to think really good in how we can use that water in the most efficient way. Because, of course, from our seas, you can think we have water enough, but salty water, you can't give that to trees. So therefore, with a particular project last year with the 1,100 trees, due to that the summer in the Netherlands was really wet this last year, we had results in that in the first year. Normally they gave around 12 to 14 times water to a tree per summer period. And now from the total project, we even had around 50 trees who didn't got any water at all, because the soil was so wet that it wasn't necessary, and otherwise we would have drowned the tree. But in total, we had saved around 300,000 liters of drinking water, which we didn't have to provide because the sensor was telling us what we had to do. And as I already just mentioned, the tree mortality didn't increase by that, it even lowered. So yeah, I think the figures and the numbers speak for itself in why this is so efficient. And yeah, we use the KPN LoRaWAN network for it. Really convenient, to my opinion. Yeah, maybe I'm taking some topics which Karsten is talking about in a minute, but from our perspective as a sensor provider, and the fact that KPN is nationwide coverage, and you came to a place you want to install sensors there and don't have to think any more about is there connectivity or not, is such a problem solver. But I will gladly give the floor to Karsten.
Thank you so much, Inou. Great compliment already indeed. I'm Karsten. I'm a product manager at KPN IoT, which is a new business department, as we call it, within KPN. Although we already exist for more than 10 years, but still it's new business in the telco world. We're a Dutch telco. So let me elaborate a bit on what the nationwide LoRaWAN network is and how it benefits users like Inou, which just gave a great example of, I think, the flexibility in operation our network provides. And we really hope to, in the future, collaborate with more clients and partners like Inou to also develop these applications within the Netherlands further than we already did. So I would like to just give a brief introduction on what are we doing as a KPN IoT, elaborate a bit on the benefits of this LoRaWAN network, but also how you can expand upon these functionalities, and also give some brief insight in the use cases that we have with these. And then the floor is to Simon, who can really show the power of both these two platforms, because it's a combination between the hardware from Inou, the connectivity and, let's say, middleware from KPN IoT, and then the application layer and analytics and insight from Datacake. First, about our department, our company, KPN. We are Dutch native with a really EU focus, so we're not only operating in the Netherlands. We have a lot of experience in IoT, and of course IoT, as you can see in this webinar, is all about collaborating and being open. So we aim to do that as well, and have a lot of partners like Datacake in that sense to get projects flying. Also, we are a telco, of course, so we need to have a 24/7 service desk. We really want to provide scalable technology. We are really secure. Also, let's say the Dutch 911 number is on our network, on the KPN network, so we need to be really reliable and therefore also take pride in being a really trusted partner. To give you some brief numbers and then dive into the LoRa specifics, we are quite a large organization in means of IoT organizations. In telco organizations, it's small, of course, just 120 people. But really from more commercial or product management people like myself to really hardcore tech people who can really crunch your cases. We are not only having a nationwide LoRaWAN network, which we're very proud of, but also worldwide. We provide a lot of SIMs to clients from Agen to more startup clients. And we do this with a roaming network of plus 600 partners. So you always, by this non-steered roaming agreements, are able to get the best connectivity for your connected devices. We're also 12 years in the game, and we take a lot of pride also in our NPS score, which is quite high for a telco. So that also relates to the openness to collaborate. Just give us a call. We really want to be an open organization. Anywho, without any further ado, let's talk about LoRaWAN in the Netherlands, which is a specific part of our connectivity portfolio besides our M2M or mobile services. And what's so cool about this is that we really were pioneering back in the days by providing this LoRaWAN, which enables low power, long range applications of IoT devices in the Netherlands. And by that, we were also able to pioneer with clients like Inou on these use cases. And as we found out in the early days, that just getting a LoRaWAN network active on your device can be quite a hassle. We also built on top of this LoRaWAN network a really user-friendly portal to manage these connections. So we could say that without any configurations, you could really set up your devices. Within this portal, we also provide the opportunity to do LoRaWAN localization. So compared to GPS localization, you have a TDOA, which is an algorithm which defines the time difference based off arrival of a message. So with 1 to 6 meters accuracy, you can really define where is my device at what moment in time in the Netherlands. So that's really cool. Of course, this is all telco grade secured and reliable. And you can also build hybrid LoRaWAN devices with mobile service devices in the Netherlands, as we also provide, of course, LTE-M, 3G, 4G, 5G. And the nice thing about this is, you also notice some discussion on LinkedIn. Isn't this an expensive solution to build? Well, we already installed all these gateways for you, so you can just connect to these gateways and don't have to install any gateways and just start using this LoRaWAN network anywhere in the Netherlands. So that really provides you this level of operational flexibility for use cases like Inou mentioned. If you have plans everywhere around the Netherlands, or you don't know where your end clients are going to install these plans, that's a really real game changer. Of course, it means if you have just one operational site with a group of LoRa sensors, then it would be wise to connect them to your own LoRa gateway. But if your objects are moving through the Netherlands or are in a full province of the Netherlands, or for example, in scenarios that items could get stolen and you do not know where these items end up, use the LoRaWAN network in the Netherlands. And for example, the Datacake application to check, is my asset leaving a certain set domain? But Simon can tell you a lot of more about that. About this user friendliness, I'm not saying my grandmother could set up an IoT sensor, an IoT device, but you really don't have to be a developer to do so, or an expert. Both Datacake and KPN have great documentation to set this up. So really give that a go and just play around. What I want to add to that is that we also provide several options to do these experiments, both from the M2M side as the LoRaWAN side, by providing some free keys to add devices. Then finally, I would like to give a brief insight in some use cases that we are running with the LoRaWAN network, just to give you some insight into the width of type of solutions that can be built with this. The first one is an asset recovery system. We built this for the insurance company in the Netherlands called Unigrant, which is related to the ANWB, as we call it. They really want to prevent the amount of theft that was present in cities of mobility assets, being mopeds, bikes, bicycles, of course, and so on. So with this solution, they were really able to track if a bike was stolen. Consumers could update this in the app, and then the police or deputies of the municipality departments could look for these bikes and find them, which really enabled the bike owner to pay less insurance money in the end. So another segment that we're really present in is with our partner Bakker. They're in the construction side monitoring. So all these assets that are present, they can buy this LoRaWAN system, find out if they're stolen or not, at what location sites they are present, how much time they are used, or based on how much time they're used, they can extra layer of intelligence to find out is it how much should be paid for the services they provide. So that's in the construction segment, but also in the health sector. We collaborated with Philips on this patient sensor. Of course, there's a lot of stress on the healthcare sector, and by this sensor, these clients can be sent home earlier and be monitored from home for 14 days. This was a really intense bandwidth that was used. So then it's only 14 days that the sensor could be used. But we have seen use cases in the Netherlands by the low power network that we provide of sensors being in field for over 15 years on just 2 pen lights. And that's of course really exciting from also a cost perspective, but also an operational perspective. So I would advise to just play around with this. There are 2 links on the bottom of this slide that are incorrect. So Carolina already sent these links in the chat. That's really great. And yeah, I would advise to just play around and hit us up if you have any problems in setting it up. But yeah, give it a go. And I give the floor to Simon to talk more about both our portals. If there's nothing to add, Simon.
No, not from my side. I think it's fine. Thank you, both of you, for the great presentation of your solutions. Some key informations or key points that I took away was that we do have the soil moisture sensing can reduce the operational cost, the overall costs. It can reduce mortality. And one of the things I wasn't talking about at the beginning is sensing soil moisture also helps reducing water waste, which is also great. And then a key takeaway from the KPN presentation from Karsten was that next to the nationwide LoRaWAN network, we also have an M2M network for SIM cards, which is also something that is great. So if you have different kinds of devices, different kinds of IoT devices, they can all work on the same platform and also being forwarded to Datacake, actually. Karsten also mentioned how easy it is to work with KPN IoT. I can approve this. I've done it a couple of times, and even if I'm here in Germany, I'm not so close to the Netherlands border. It's about like 10 kilometers or so. I can get LoRaWAN network from the KPN, from the Netherlands side. So really their network is available everywhere. And now we start with the more interactive live part. Inou has a sensor in her location that's about 12 to 15 kilometers from my place.
Yes, it's this one.
That one, yeah, great. As you can see, I already logged out of my KPN session. I deleted all the sensors that I had there so we can start fresh. So now we can actually showcase how easy it really is. And we can go ahead and actually start onboarding one of those soil moisture sensors. Like in every other platform, everything is web-based. Karsten was sharing the domains or URLs that you can use. Just go ahead, sign up. I was already signed up, but usually you just sign up, register for free. Then you log into your account and your username and password is not that's session has expired. Yeah, live webinar, things happen. Continue. They are very strict on security, so the session always expires. Now this is something that is unexpected. Okay, wait, I tested it throughout the whole webinar a couple of times. Maybe it's the token here. Let's see. And let's do it again. Fingers crossed. It's locked for 900 seconds. No, I did it too often. Okay, let's wait and leave this. And first of all, go to the Datacake side and then add the sensor to Datacake. And then we go back to the KPN side. Maybe, Karsten, you can quickly write your technical team to unlock my account faster. I will do it once more. Okay, let's log into Datacake. So let's start with the Datacake part first and then go back to KPN. For those of you who don't know Datacake, Datacake is an IoT platform. It's the same. You can log in and sign up for free. We support up to 5 devices for free. Go ahead, sign up for your account. And when you signed up, you will be logged into your empty workspace where you can add devices, your IoT devices. For adding a new sensor, all you have to do is click on this blue button. Then you need to select the LoRaWAN device type, click on next. And one of the things that we bring is templates. And we have templates for various manufacturers and also for all of the sensors that Teneo is offering. And the soil moisture sensor also has a dedicated template. You just need to search up for it, select it, and click on next. On the selector of networks, you need to select the KPN network. It supports both uplinks and downlinks. That means we can also control sensors from the Datacake side on all devices that are on KPN. We click on next, and then you are required to enter a couple of details. We have a drag and drop section where you can just drop a CSV files. If you purchase hundreds of sensors, just drop them there and they are all added to the platform. And the things that we need to do is we need to enter a so-called dev EUI. For those who are not familiar with LoRaWAN, a LoRaWAN device has an identifier. This is the device EUI and a couple of different informations as well. And Inou was so kind to share this device EUI with me. Usually it comes on the box of the LoRaWAN sensor. You just type this in or paste it in and then give a name, my first Teneo Soil Moisture Sensor. You can put a location description, tags, and other things. We don't need to do that right now. Click on next. We have various kinds of paid plans, but also free plans. Right now, we are going to stick with the free plan. The features are fully there, so there's no differentiation. You have full access to all of the features, just the data retention is limited to 7 days. You can go to you can click on add this device here, and this device has now been added to the Datacake platform. If we click on the sensor, we can see that it always comes with a basic dashboard. So this dashboard is showing the soil moisture. If you would have integrated your sensor already into your trees that you want to monitor, you would see the soil moisture, the temperature. We have some couple of flags in here, and it's also able to, we are able to, maybe Teneo IoT has the address in here. We are also able to set the address so you can see it later on a map. Now it is time to hook up the sensor to the KPN network again. And we need to add the sensor and then forward the information. So let me see, just 1 second, if that is working now again. Sorry for the interruption here. Let's see. And it is still locked for 300 seconds. So maybe, I'm not sure, Inou, I bring you on stage quickly. So maybe, do you have a chance to add your sensor and share your screen from your side?
Yes, I will do that.
Oh, that would be great, because I have to apologize. I was too nervous and clicking too often on relog in, so they kicked me out because they take security very critical, and that's correct. And I was just constantly clicking all of the time. So sorry for that. If you can add your sensor, that would be super great.
Yes, will do.
We always find good working solution.
Yes.
You can just go ahead and I will comment, and I can explain what it does. So this is the KPN portal, and you have a couple of different options like devices, flows, and integration to Datacake. And what you need to do is basically, like Inou is showing it, you also have presets. You can select predefined LoRaWAN devices, but also your own LoRaWAN devices. And the process is actually extremely similar, like how you've just seen it on the Datacake side. What you need to do is you need to give it a name. You can optionally scan barcodes if you have sensors that have KPN barcodes, but you don't need it for the first sensors that you try. You can give a description and then click on Add Device. And then it, again, also similar to Datacake, requires this time 3 numbers. Most of you probably are familiar with LoRaWAN. This is the dev EUI again to identify it's a sensor, but also the app EUI for the routing information. and the app key. And the app key actually is something that is super important, because without the key, nobody would be able to understand the data that's been sent by your sensor, because that's used to decrypt the information. So it's actually a super secured sensor. Protocol LoRaWAN is actually super secured and encrypting all the data. Thank you, Inou, for adding the device. This was actually the part that I wanted to show, but because I clicked too often, I'm now banned on KPN. So this is actually everything that you need to do. You sign up for the account, you enter these 3 details. There are a few more steps required, like setting up a flow and a destination. I'm not sure, Inou, if you have a destination set up to Datacake. Maybe we can showcase this.
I have here, multiple destinations. As Simon mentioned, I didn't prepare it, so you can see more. But here's my Datacake destination. Yeah. It's an HTTPS destination, and this URL can actually be found in the Datacake documentation. And
it's now even easier, because KPN has a dedicated plugin for Datacake. You just click on the plugin, and then you go and more or less just start ahead. So that means that actually, if you start with your sensor, we should be seeing the data actually.
Yeah, I should.
I think what you
sensor page again. I just once have to link it to the flow.
Yeah.
And I click Datacake. Otherwise, we would miss the information in Datacake. Now I here go to the LoRaWAN data history page, and now our sensors have the how do you call it, functionality that they can be charged through wireless charging. And I will now put the sensor on the charging pad, so I can actually trigger a LoRaWAN message from it.
That's actually a good thing. That means you don't have like batteries that you need to throw away after they run out. You can recharge it actually.
And now you see it has sent a join request. Well, and afterwards it will take 2.5 minutes, because it's SF12 data rate 0. But afterwards we will see data in the Datacake. So I believe you can go further from this.
Yeah. Let me know when you see some data being sent, then we can see it here. But just one question, because you said something important about your sensors. Because I think it's like a very important topic for the next years. Usually we see lots of IoT sensors having single usage batteries, and we can see customers actually after a couple of years starting to replace their batteries. And we had a discussion with one of our partners and customer that he was having hundreds of batteries that he needs to replace. So did I understand correct that you can recharge your sensor so if it runs out?
Yes, that's true. Yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning when I was showcasing the success story, our sensors being buried under the ground. Of course, not meters deep. I believe 5 centimeters maximum. But therefore it has to be waterproof. And to have it waterproof, you have actually to fill it up with epoxy. And therefore we thought, okay, but we still want to have a way to be able also to communicate with the sensor, and to be able to charge the batteries again. And actually wireless charging solves that trick in both times.
That's nice. That's good to hear. So it's also very environmentally friendly.
Yes.
Cool. Can you see already data flowing through the KPN network from your side?
Not yet, because it's only 2 minutes away.
Okay, let me check if I am now allowed to maybe log into KPN again. So I can showcase the, no, it's still locked for 100 seconds. I'm sorry for that. Okay, until we wait, until your sensor starts sensing, we can maybe switch to a different workspace where we can present an installation that we set up with KPN and Teneo in a local municipality or a city nearby, which is called Winterswijk. And in here, it's a small demonstration, But this is, for example, how would the sensors from Teneo would look like if they are installed and collect data through the KPN network. So you can see the soil moisture, you can see the temperature, and it's actually the soil temperature if you bury the sensors in the ground. You can see some warning flags directly. Right now we have a warning here. The warning is just the low temperature, but the soil moisture seems to be okay. We can see the trends and also the locations. So one of the things that I said at the beginning is that I wanted to showcase something which is brand new on Datacake, or something that has never seen before, and like something for a big announcement for 2025. And like this is the usual way how you go with Datacake in applications. You start, you add a couple of devices, and then you go ahead, create your manual dashboards. And we do have these dashboard editors that allow you to create, modify the dashboards how you want to have them to look like. You can also see most important stats here on the map directly and on the sidebar. This is all fine, but especially when it comes to scaling and going into projects where you have successfully able to sell more and more soil moisture sensors around your customers, you want to replicate all of the features. And then an IoT platform sometimes comes to its limits in terms of duplicating, scaling, and the amount of work required. Also, we are working with rules, so we can set up different kind of rules that send out emails, SMS, and stuff like that. And you always need to recreate them. Datacake has this problem, or like this IoT scaling problem exists for multiple kind of use cases. And one of the solutions that we brought up is creating dedicated apps on Datacake, like for soil moisture sensing, for fill level sensing. And today I want to show you one that works for soil moisture sensing, and which is connected to my workspaces. And this is a dedicated front end that we created just for soil moisture sensing. It looks very similar to the Datacake platform. It also has workspace selectors. But if we go now into this Winterswijk setup that we saw earlier, the goal of this scalable front end is not to have a manual way to create dashboards, but to have predefined dashboards. Like in here, you get an overview of your installation. How many sensors, how many trees, how is the health of all of the trees, how many of these trees are in danger, how many require water, how many are okay. The same goes for the soil moisture. And also we have a health KPI dashboard, which gives you the overview of, which is also important when working with LoRaWAN deployments, so that you can see how many devices are online, what is the average signal quality, are there sensors that have bad signal quality? Because at the end of the day, if you deploy lots of LoRaWAN sensors, it's also really important to take a look at the health, the device health, just also as battery level and so on. We also have a predefined view for how the device details actually look. Remember, when we go to the Datacake platform, we can for sure access all of these devices in here, but these dashboards are more or less manually created. And of course, they do come with a template, but if you want to make modifications, you need to do this by your own. For the new apps that we build on top of Datacake, we go a different approach. We more or less already have predefined views that give you the most important stats and figures for what you need to see, in this case for soil moisturing. It also comes with a map view. You can just add more and more sensors, and then these just show up on the map. You can filter them and see everything directly on the map. And the good part about that is that if you work with these kinds of scalable solutions, and you have a successful business where you continue to sell more and more soil moistures, the whole scaling needs to be more faster. And this is actually the purpose of these apps that we built on top of Datacake for each of our verticals or use cases, IoT use cases. You more or less get all of these informative views that you need directly out of the box. And the best part, because that is fully custom designed or custom developed, there would be also a white label version that allows us to offer even more functionality or customization with your own logo, your own domain, and stuff like that. Same as on Datacake, but for these use case solutions. So that is something that we focus on. Also, it was inspired by the work of Inou. She told us that it's actually a bit stressful if you have lots of sensors and want to scale them and need to create dashboards over and over. And instead of just making the whole Datacake platform more complex and offering more options, we focus now on use cases for the actual apps for the actual use cases. That's what we wanted to announce. There will be more announcements in the future, but if you have interests or questions, feel free to reach out to us. We will be happy to answer all of them. But let's just once more go back and check if we actually now have data. And yes, we can see data. So that means that Inou sensor was successfully sending data through the KPN network to Datacake, just by entering numbers on our side and numbers, thanks again, Inou, on the KPN side. And this is actually the data that's coming from the sensor that is in Inou's place through the KPN network. We can also see now this is the uplink coming from KPN. We do have downlinks in here, which are not set up yet. You need to do some more extra configuration, which is out of the topic for today, but you would be able to send the commands back to the device to send different kinds of reporting intervals. That's it from my side. That's it from showcasing how easy it is to start with soil moisture sensors on Datacake. You can go ahead both on KPN and Datacake for free and start. And I also said that at the very end, we also announce a giveaway. And for this, I would like to bring Inou back to stage and Karsten as well. So the stage is yours. Feel free.
Yes. We have a special announcement for viewers who are in the Netherlands, since we basically have all the tools in place with KPN's nationwide coverage. We are actually having a giveaway in which we are picking out people who want to get the soil moisture sensor for free. Of course, we don't send 5 sensors to one person, so we basically are picking out 5 persons. And after the webinar, we will announce on the Datacake social media what actually the steps are to participate. Maybe I can just shortly mention them. You should first follow both Datacake and Teneo on LinkedIn. And from my side, I don't know why you don't want to do that, because very exciting features are coming up and very exciting new sensors are coming up. Then you have to like our giveaway post, which will be down here, I believe, at the end of the webinar. Then comment at the webinar post that you want to participate. And of course, be noticed that you are in the Netherlands, because otherwise it won't work together with KPN. And then afterward, we randomly select 5 winners from the comments to the post, and the winners will be announced this Friday. So I believe it's fairly easy, but if you want to start right away, I believe we have presented you all the tools for it. So just participate in the giveaway.
That's kind, Inou.
Great.
Christmas came early this year.
Yeah, very early.
I was actually trying to restore my account, but it's still locked. Karsten, you sent me some instructions, but now it says I'm locked again.
Yeah, you did something terrible, I guess. I already was.
I tried it multiple times before, and but we managed it anyways. And I think Inou, thank you very much for the great giveaway. I think it's a great way to start with soil moisture sensing. And as Karsten said, Christmas comes early, or maybe it's like Christmas isn't that far behind already. So
glass is half full.
Maybe there are still some people who have questions for us for a short Q&A.
Yeah.
How much does the soil sensor cost, and how long does the battery last before they need to charge? Is in the chat, at least.
I see a question on the screen from Martin Nordman. Is it necessary for trees to determine soil moisture in different depths, or is just one sensing spot in the ground needed? There are sensors in which they measure in multi-depth, but actually it's depending on how the tree roots are actually rooting in the ground. If you have a fairly new tree which has been planted, for example, this fall, then the roots normally from the tree are somewhere between 20 to 60% in the soil. If you then measure somewhere there, then you're completely fine. And then it's not necessary to measure at multi-depths. I believe this.
That one is for you,
is
Karsten,
for
I think.
Karsten. Or for you, Simon.
I think it was related to KPN. So from I can maybe from our perspective, we theoretically support roaming because you can have a device and it doesn't matter where the uplink comes from. We route it to the device. I think I can understand this question also in relation to KPN, that people are interested in maybe using your network on the German side, because that would be really great to have a nationwide network here in Germany. But I think, maybe you can give some insights on roaming.
Yeah, for the Netherlands, we're only able to do this on LoRaWAN. These LoRaWAN gateways are connected also to these high posts we place in the Netherlands on strategic locations. We provided this extra layer of user friendliness on top of that to make this accessible for users in the Netherlands, and experiences without this platform were that was quite difficult and people needed to be quite technical, and we really want to have a really open, low threshold approach to IoT to make it scalable and fun in the end.
Nice.
Yes, of course, I can definitely elaborate on that. It was a project with Philips. There's also a blog online, so if you Google Philips patient sensor KPN, you can read a lot more about it. In general, the pressure on healthcare is that the amount of operational people in hospitals are definitely diminishing. So they were looking for a way to have patients leave the hospital earlier, and by monitoring them at home, that could be provided in short. So that was a really nice case. Yeah.
Yes, all of the dashboards are configurable. So you start with the device, like with the soil moisture device. This brings you a basic template. Maybe I can bring my screen back onto stage. So this is the basic template that you start with, but you can always go ahead and make modifications to it. And also these modifications, if you add multiple sensors, you can add them to this sensor and your modifications go to all of your sensors. We have different layouts for mobile and desktop, and you can always create like a global dashboard that can hold more devices at the same time. But it's a manual approach, but you have configurable dashboards for both types.
Yes, the pricing. Yeah, well, of course, that depends on how much sensors you buy. If you buy one off, the prices are around 200 euros per piece. And how long does the battery last? Yeah, that's really dependent on the measurement interval, which you can set via downlink. Normally, what most customers of us use is one measurement or two measurements per day, and then the battery will easily go 5 years. And even on SF12, so data rate 0. And if you have a better data rate, of course, the battery lifetime will enhance. But yeah, if you want to send more often, that's possible. But then, of course, you have to recharge the battery sooner.
I actually remember the sensor that you sent me back in 2020 or 21. It still runs in my garden for, I think, 4 years now. So
yeah, I know we have some filling level sensors in the municipality in the Netherlands. They have already sent 30,000 messages.
Yeah,
Amazing.
we're still looking for like the high scores in this area. But,
Yeah, I do too.
And we are talking about rechargeable battery. You don't need to throw it away and create waste. So that's also.
Does it have a vertical profile? It doesn't measure at different levels because it is only 1 point measurement, which is being done actually here. So yeah, it does measure vertical profile, but not in several levels.
Yes, in theory we do, because everything that is on the internet and can communicate via HTTP can be added to Datacake. If we don't have a preset for this network, you can use the generic API integration. There's some documentation available on our site.
We have tested the sensor in multiple soil types, and based on that, we have a sort of algorithm in which we send the percentage which is being sent through. It's actually volumetric water content which is being measured. Hydroponics, the name doesn't ring a bell to me, so I have to look that up and maybe answer this question afterwards.
Thanks.
Thank you very well.
Thanks for everybody for participating.
Yes.
Thanks for having us, Simon.
Thank you for having us. It was a pleasure.
Triangular collaboration.
I was just looking at the questions. I saw one which is actually super great to talk about, which was about location, and because KPN has a great feature about that, but I don't find that there's so many messages. Yeah, exactly, that one. So there's two ways. Like you probably saw how I did it on the presentation. You go into the platform, and as long as there is no position, you always have a button to set the position manually. You can even type in an address. But KPN has a great feature. First of all, it always transmits the nearest location of the gateway, but there's a triangulation feature on the platform. That means maybe Karsten, you can give some more technical background, but as I understand, you use the gateways around to estimate the position, and this position comes with any LoRaWAN sensor, right?
Yeah, correct. You can Google also in our documentation on TDOA, which means time difference of arrival. And indeed, it's based on the distance from three gateways and the time the message takes to receive. So then you can make this calculation, and that algorithm is included in our platform. It's also included in the freemium subscription, so you can test with it. I believe, Simon, you already played around with it with the REC wireless sensor, which is just a sticker, and you can upload it or connect it to our KPN Things platform and then track where this package, for example, is going through the Netherlands. It's really fun to play around with, but also, of course, has a lot of more professional enterprise use case availabilities.
Or if somebody steals soil moisture sensors and they continue to send, you can find them actually. Yeah. I think that was now it. Well, then let me say thank you again for everybody attending and watching. Also, thanks Inou, thanks Karsten for participating. In the background, everybody could see it that things were moderated, moved around, and screens were changing. Our marketing manager Carolina is behind her screen and more or less, moderating the whole thing. So thanks to Carolina as well. And if you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us. We sent the recording anyways to all participants. And thanks for watching and stay tuned, like I always say.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.